excited that the seasons are changing, even though in San Diego, the seasons don't change that much. But it'll be nice that temperatures are dropping below 80 degrees. I am here for that. Today, I'm gonna be sharing with you my favorite fall recipes. They're plant-based, they're delicious, they're comforting, and I have a feeling that you're gonna love them. Before we get into the recipes, make sure that you subscribe down below, hit that little red subscribe button, and also the bell icon next to it so you're notified every time I post a new video, and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. All right, without any further ado, let's get into the recipes. Okay, our first recipe is a chickpea and rice soup. This is kind of a play on a chicken noodle soup, although there's no chicken and no noodles, so I don't really know what to call this except a chickpea and rice soup. So you're gonna saute half of an onion in a large pot and add in some carrots and celery, 1 large carrot, 2 celery stalks, and I'm sauteing everything in water here. You can use oil if you want. And then add 3 cloves of minced garlic. And now we're gonna add some spices so they can toast in the pan a bit. So you're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of fennel, 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, and a heaping tablespoon of vegetable bouillon, or better than bouillon. And then I'm gonna add in about 4 or 5 cups of water. Stir everything together, and then you're gonna cover and let it simmer until everything is nice and tender. Make sure the carrots are tender, the celery, and then you can add in your already cooked brown rice and chickpeas just so they can heat up a little bit, and season with salt, pepper, garnish it with some rosemary, serve it with crusty bread. It is so good and so comforting. Next up, we have the spaghetti squash pasta that's kind of like a fettuccine alfredo. It is really bomb. I'm excited for you to try this out. So for this, you're gonna roast a spaghetti squash, and ideally you would cut it lengthwise in half, but my knife was really dull and it's really small. So I cut it this way instead, and I did not do it very gracefully. It's all kind of jagged and weird. So anyway, you're gonna scoop out the seeds and then place your squash cut side down on a lined baking sheet, and then roast in the oven at 425 for about 40-45 minutes until it's really tender, fork tender. In the meantime, you can saute half of a small medium onion, and again, I'm just sauteing in water here, and then you're gonna add 7 minced garlic cloves. That's right, 7. This is a very garlicky sauce and you need it. So we're gonna continue to saute the onions and garlic together, and we're gonna caramelize them. So you're gonna do this low and slow over medium to low heat. Keep stirring it, and our squash should be done about 40 minutes later, and you want to be able to do this with a fork so it's nice and tender. That's how you know it's done, and it looks like spaghetti, hence the name spaghetti squash. Now for our sauce, we're gonna use soaked cashews as a base. So you're gonna need about 1 cup of soaked cashews, 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk, your onion and garlic mixture, about 3 tablespoons of nooch, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of tomato paste, a good pinch of salt, and 1.5 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Then you're going to blend that until sexy smooth. Get it really pulverized in there. You don't want any chunks. Then we can go ahead and saute the rest of our ingredients. So I'm using oil here. I'm gonna heat up some oil in a pan, toss in some mushrooms, saute those so they get nice and crispy. Then I'm gonna add in some fresh spinach. You could also add in frozen spinach here too. And I'm gonna wilt that down in the pan. Then I'm gonna add in my cooked spaghetti squash, toss that around a little bit, and here you can add in any seasonings that you want. I'm adding in some extra salt and lemon juice. And now you can add in your sauce straight away into the pan, but I wanted to make it a little bit more aesthetic and do it on the plate. So I'm adding on some sun-dried tomatoes, drizzling the sauce on top, and then mixing it on the plate. Guys, this recipe is so good. I hope you give it a try. Next up, we have pumpkin chocolate chip bread. Oh my gosh. So for this, you're gonna need 3 flax eggs. 1 flax egg equals 1 tablespoon of ground flax and 2 tablespoons of water. So you can do the math, people. I'll leave the written recipe in the description box. And then you're gonna let that sit for 5 minutes. You're also gonna need 1 ripe banana. You want it spotty, no green, and you're gonna mash it with a fork, get it nice and smooshed. Then you're gonna add your flax egg that's been sitting to a large bowl, along with 1 cup of canned pumpkin, half a cup of almond butter, couple tablespoons of maple syrup, your mashed banana, about half a tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and then a mixture of spices. So we have 1 teaspoon of allspice, half a teaspoon of cardamom, and a pinch of ground clove. And then you also need some fresh nutmeg. I like to grind it fresh, but you can also use pre-ground, up to you. 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar or brown sugar, a pinch of salt. Mix that all together. Now it's time to add the rest of our dry ingredients. So you're gonna need 1 cup of oat flour, along with half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a cup of almond flour. Mix that together and then toss in your chocolate chips or chocolate chunks. Fold that in. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then add your batter to a parchment paper lined loaf pan. I line mine with parchment paper just because it makes it easier. And then I topped mine with a sliced banana because I didn't have any extra chocolate chips to put on top and I just thought it looked prettier, but this is optional. If you do end up putting the bananas on top, you'll need to bake it for a little bit longer, but if you skip that step and just do it with the chocolate chips, then you only need to bake it for about 45 to 50 minutes. With the bananas, you might need to do it for almost an hour. I love this bread. It's sweet, but not too sweet, and it tastes so amazing, and the ingredients are not too shabby. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it and comment down below which one you're gonna make first and what are your thoughts about fall. Love it, hate it, excited? I know I am. Take care of yourself this week, eat good food, and I will see you in the next one.